What's going on, guys? Mike Murtis, Gamer Logic here. It's such a nice day outside. It's actually a surprise. It was supposed to be really cold today, 45 degrees, and now we're getting into the 60s. We've had a whole bunch of up and down temperatures here lately, so it's nice that I'm actually able to do this outside for starters. And it's a little windy, but I do have the windscreen on, so if it ends up that this video is nothing but blowing air, I do apologize. But I figured I'd go through and do some of my pickups that I picked up after Midwest Gaming Classic through various shops in my travels, or if I ordered it online and stuff, and just go through some of them and talk about them. So I guess just grab the first game off the pile here, and that is Star Wars Jedi Knight for the original Xbox, the Xbox One, original Xbox, you know what I mean. But the reason I picked this up is this is probably one of my favorite Star Wars games, and I had this before, and I must have traded it in. I don't know what happened to it, to be absolutely honest, but I really enjoyed this game. The first time I played it, actually, was on the PC. Well, I decided that I wanted to play it again, and anytime I've played a game with a console controller, I tend to want to play it again that way, and for whatever reason, Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy does not have true controller support for the game. The right thumbstick and just most of the buttons in the game with a gamepad just doesn't work correctly. You can get some third-party programs to make it work, but it just ends up being a huge pain in the ass, and I really just wanted to play this on the Xbox. So I went to a place in Naperville called Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games, it's a neat little independent shop out in the Naperville area, and they had a decent selection of games, and they happen to have this one. This one was $24.95, which is a little pricey to me, but I think this game is actually going up in price. I've seen it in a couple places for 30 to 40 bucks. I don't know if it's just because it's very sought after or if it's kind of rare, but I'm excited to play through this again. I think I'm probably going to play it on my original Xbox because I read online that playing it on the 360 can spell nothing but trouble, lots of issues with it. So looking forward to playing that again. Now, I don't remember if I covered these or not in my Midwest Gaming Classic pickups video. I don't think I did. So got two GameCube games here. The first is Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. First Rogue Squadron was a ton of fun, and I picked this up from a disc replay in Rockford, if I remember correctly. For $3.99, it wasn't a bad deal. I think I had a lot of fun with this. It's got the Battle of Hoth on it, which is a huge battle to me. I love playing that. So looking forward to just firing this up on the Wii or the GameCube and playing it. And along with that, this one was a little bit more expensive. This one was $9.99, but this is Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. I want to say the second game in the series was better than this one. I think the on-foot portions were a little annoying. I can't remember, but man, I know there is Dolphin emulation that works pretty well for this game, and it's just supposed to look amazing. So maybe I'll finally try it on that. This I got from a half-price books, and this is the Bouncer. Yeah, the Bouncer on the PlayStation 2. I want to say that this is Squaresoft's first game on the PlayStation 2, or one of the first. And I barely remember this game at all. And when I look at the back of this game, it actually reminds me of like Kingdom Hearts artwork, or Kingdom Hearts characters, if you will. But I barely remember this game. I kind of remember the story behind it, and all I really remember is when my buddy Sean picked up his PlayStation 2, this was like a really hyped up game, if I remember correctly, because it was Squaresoft and it was a brawler, and I remember asking him, like, oh, what did you think? What did you think? And he was like, it's great, it's great. And then he played it some more, and he wasn't too happy with it. But I've never really sat down and played it intensely, maybe just for a little bit. So when I saw it was $6.99, I figured I'd better pick it up. I don't see this one too often at all, so why not? Going to the Genesis, this is Road Rash 2. I picked this up from Guerrilla Games as well, and oddly enough, I don't have any Road Rash games. I know that sounds crazy, but I used to love playing Road Rash with my buddy Todd in grade school, and my friend Joe Domsky in high school actually loved the Road Rash games as well, and I think 2 was his favorite. So I saw this. I don't remember what the price was on it, but the price was right. No manual, but the game is here, obviously, in the box, so looking forward to playing that. This is 2 Crude Dudes on the Genesis, and I got this from a place in Belvedere called Game Corner. The store itself was okay. All the games were like really grimy, like nasty games where they look like they were like in a basement for years, not really like stored nicely, just thrown wherever. The games kind of give you that grungy feeling, so I cleaned them off really quick. 2 Crude Dudes, I think it's kind of like a Bad Dudes clone, if I remember correctly. I've heard a lot about it, and I figured the price was right for it, so I'll pick it up. This is a 6-button Hyperkin joystick for the Genesis, a gamepad, if you will. And the reason I picked this up is because looking around when I was actually going to have a NBA Jam tournament, my last game night, I didn't have a second 6-button joypad. And I actually used the Retron 5 when I have people down in the basement to play on the projector, because it's just easy to do. It's got the multiple slots there. You can hook it up to the projector, HDMI, and you're good to go. So I wanted to do 4-player NBA Jam because the multi-taps really don't work well on the Retron 5. And I'm looking around for a 6-button Genesis pad. Nothing. I have the one, so I haven't really ran into 6-button Genesis pads loose, oddly enough, even when I was in Midwest Gaming Classic. Maybe I didn't look intently, but this was like $3.99, and it actually feels like it's a pretty solid pad. I haven't personally tried it yet, but it feels good in your hand, and it doesn't feel cheap like a lot of current retro products, if you will. So I'm looking forward to trying it. I'll probably fire up, it's a good idea actually, I'll probably fire up around a Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition on the Genesis and put it through its paces. Let's switch over to some imports, shall we? And this is Ghost in the Shell. You see that? A little better. There you go. That's Ghost in the Shell on the original PlayStation. I've actually had this on my wish list for quite some time, and the price has either never been right for it, or I've just never been able to find it, period. Windy Gaming actually had this up on its website, and I decided to grab it really quick. Yes, it is the import version, so it's going to be cheaper, but I actually feel it's a little bit more authentic playing the Japanese version of this anyway. I have played this game before, and it has awesome music. Next up, we got Metal Gear Solid Integral, and this is the special re-release of Metal Gear Solid in Japan. We got this, at least the 3rd disc we got, as Metal Gear Solid VR missions, and I don't know if there's too many differences between VR missions and this game altogether. If I remember correctly, I think you could play as Ninja through the main campaign, but maybe that's crazy. Maybe it's just bits and pieces of it. But anyway, this has got stuff like you can use your Pocket Station with it and have mini games and all this other stuff with it. The price, again, was right on this. Huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and it's a cool, neat 3-disc set. And looking at this, it looks like the subtitles are actually English in this. So even if I can't read full-on Japanese, I should still be able to play it. So that's really cool there. Even though I actually love the Japanese voice actors that played for the original Metal Gear Solid, because the first time I played Metal Gear Solid was from a PlayStation demo CD, and the language track was actually in English. Another one from Windy Gaming that I picked up. This is Final Fantasy VIII on the original PlayStation. I picked it up just because he had it and it was cheap. I love Final Fantasy VIII, and I know it gets a ton of flack for being the worst out of the 3 Final Fantasies on the PlayStation, but it's one of my favorites, so I love it. Though I will say, I just played Final Fantasy IX not too long ago, and man, does that have the perfect amount of random battles in it. Just very enjoyable game. So I'm looking forward to one of these days finally getting back to play this. And this is also another one that has Pocket Station support. I gotta use my Pocket Station more. Now, I don't think I brought this up when I was talking about the Hyperkin pad, but this is one that I picked up along with the Hyperkin pad, and that is Warhawk. And I got this from a place called Second and Charles. Someone was telling me about this online. I think it was Corey from collections.com. And it turns out that he lives in the Naperville area, and I happen to be out that way for work, so I decided to check it out. And this is Warhawk. This was an original PlayStation release. I remember seeing this before I owned a PlayStation and being very interested in checking it out for the simple reason that it looked like a better Star Fox, and I've never ever played this. So it was big box, which is awesome. I love these big box PlayStation games, and I'm looking forward to trying it. And it was $4. This is one from Konami, and I don't think I own the first one, nor have I played the first one, and that is Vandal Hearts 2, which I think this is something kind of similar to like Final Fantasy Tactics, it looks like, maybe? I don't know. But I heard it was a great game. I've never played it. I saw it. I don't see it very often at all, so I figured I'd pick it up. I got this from, oh geez, where did I get this from? Video Games Now and Then in Des Plaines. Another one from Second and Charles. This one was $8.10, kind of a weird price for it. But this is Road Rash on the PlayStation. That's right. I picked up 2 Road Rash games in one trip. And this actually looks like it's pretty fun. If I remember correctly, this is actually a port of the 3DO version. It's got a lot of music from a lot of bands. Soundgarden, Hammerbox, Paw, Therapy, Swerve Driver, and Monster Magnet. Good old Monster Magnet. But I'm looking forward to playing this because I think it has a lot of full motion video stuff and everything. Great soundtrack. Curious to see how it stacks up to number 2. This is Covert Ops Nuclear Dawn. This is a Resident Evil-like game that came out pretty late in the PlayStation's life cycle. I want to say that the PlayStation 2 just came out at that point. Let's see, this says 2000. But it's basically a Resident Evil style clone. You're on a train and it is armed with nuclear weapons, and the plane gets hijacked, and it's kind of like, I guess you could picture like Under Siege 2, like that kind of scenario. I guess it's kind of similar to that. I played it briefly, I owned it briefly, and I lent it to someone and never got it back. And I bought this at Second and Charles, and I brought it home and was getting ready to put it on my shelf, and I already own a copy. So this is 2 copies that's going to have to go in my duplicates box. Another one I picked up at Second and Charles, and this was $3.50, and this is the strategy guide for Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. I don't really need a guide for it, and if you look, this game can be finished pretty quickly if you look at Games Done Quick, pretty fast. But looking at it, I decided that the price was right for it. It was cheap, and I love old Star Wars stuff, and the guide itself, kind of really poorly written, if you want to be honest. But, well, whatever. It was cheap. This one I got from Windy Gaming. I actually picked this up for a friend of mine. She is actually from Japan, and she really enjoys Street Fighter stuff. So I figured she doesn't have this in her collection, so I'd pick it up. And essentially, it is a Ryuken strategy guide against all the other fighters for Street Fighter II World Warrior. A little tiny book. Not bad, but she'll enjoy it. And finally, another one I picked up at Second and Charles. This is a Nintendo strategy book. It's how to win at Bases Loaded, Blaster Master, Castlevania 2, Contra, Double Dragon, Gauntlet, Iron Tank, Life Force, Bionic Commando, Renegade, Skater Die, Super Mario 2, Xavius, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, and much more. It was $2. This, and I had a second one of these, but this is one of the very first video game related strategy guide books that my dad ever bought me. And I had another one. I picked up another one, I think at Midwest Gaming Classic this year, or maybe it was last year. And I thought that was the one my dad picked up for me. And I was looking through it, and I was like, man, there's some stuff missing through this thing that it's just not there. Maybe I'm just thinking incorrectly. But this is the one. This is the one that actually has everything in it. that I remember, and this is the first one he got for me, and the reason I remember that is because this has Metal Gear in it. This is like one of the first places I got strategies from Metal Gear, and this had a password in it that you could use to get all the weapons and the card keys and everything else. So this was the only way I really got far in Metal Gear, and I don't know if I beat it from that point, but I was certainly able to get further in it just because I couldn't figure out some of the obtuse puzzles that was in the game, but walk down memory lane there, if you will. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That is all my pickups for probably end of April throughout May, and hopefully you enjoy the video. So have a nice day. I'm going to enjoy this weather out here. Peace, guys.